Brooklyn Kingston was a character who we didn't see for that long, but somehow conveyed such a great impact to the story. Seeing his emotional aspect and appeal come out at the end was truly great to see, and we can finally understand why he is the way he is. We're going to look back into his story and see what makes him so great, and analyze the events that makes him who he is. Some of this information was used in another analysis by KiiNGKhyy, so make sure you guys check out his website. I won't lie, I had seen this Beyblade anime after watching the Beyblade Metal Fusion as a kid, so I didn't know much about this anime firsthand. And seeing the first two villains of the story didn't put me at full ease because they didn't feel much like villains at first, they felt more like victims. Brooklyn is someone who came in as the last boss of the third season and was meant to be someone extremely powerful who no one could defeat. Everything about Brooklyn when he appears is great. His calm demeanor, his mysterious aura, and his all-white appearance with a trench coat. Even his orange hair made him stand out. Also, if you watch the English dub for Metal Fusion, this series Brooklyn's voice actor is actually Jinga, but with a way more serious tone, which I liked. Brooklyn was a natural genius who was good at everything. He didn't even know much about Beyblade and yet excelled right away. His natural talent made him unstoppable and hard to beat. Brooklyn often spent time by himself, loving nature and everything around it. He was someone who didn't have a lot of friends as he was better than everyone. Brooklyn has an absolute god complex, looking down on everyone as he was unbeatable and couldn't relate to others. He was someone who accepted being better than others and didn't care to be alone. Brooklyn really resembles an outer shell of who KiiNGKhyy thinks he is. He is better than KiiNGKhyy at his own game, he's one step ahead. So it gets camouflaged. These two are very similar, but Brooklyn beats KiiNGKhyy in his own sense. Both KiiNGKhyy and Brooklyn have the same base/foundation. They have a very strikingly similar childhood. They are privileged people who were above normal folk, and they knew it. Now Brooklyn's family background isn't mentioned anywhere, but it's safe to say that he isn't poor. They know their superiority isn't going to earn them friends. Of course they tried, only to be ousted and humiliated. KiiNGKhyy has been traumatized ever since his father's abandonment as a child, and since then he realized that no one wanted him. He's unable to make friends, and because of this, he puts himself in an isolated corner and he never shares his feelings with anyone. He puts himself in shackles of a sort that he knows he can't break from, causing him to stay away from everything. Brooklyn, on the other hand, is seemingly positive. He knows he is the best, so he convinces himself that he doesn't need any friends anyway. He'll be his own friend. He'll find his happiness in being alone himself. So much so that over the years, he actually does find it peaceful to be alone, so he stays away from everything. Both are the exact same child who got trapped in the exact same social situation, and they reacted in literal opposite ways. Only to come back to square one, because their present situation is still the same. They have nobody. Their reaction is also the same. They sit alone and like animals more than people. They want to be alone all the time. But his reaction is totally opposite. KiiNGKhy's pretense is acceptance, while Brooklyn's is denial. They were forced into solitude. They didn't choose it, but convinced themselves that they did. KiiNGKhyy has accepted it, while Brooklyn relishes in it. And that is why Brooklyn is a version of KiiNGKhyy. A version that KiiNGKhyy wishes he was. And that is also why they are both opposite sides of the same coin. KiiNGKhyy would kill to be like Brooklyn, who took this dire situation and found positivity out of it, when all he did was let the circumstances get the best of him and warp him into this emotionally stunted freak. Only if KiiNGKhyy knew that unfortunately Brooklyn didn't come out of this unharmed. It only looks like he did. In fact, he got damaged beyond repair. What happened to these kids wasn't normal by any measure. No child should be subjected to such discrimination and hatred when they aren't even old enough to know what it is and when they did nothing to deserve it. There's no way they're coming out of this tragedy in one piece. Either it is going to hurt the obvious way or the twisted way. That is if you suppress it. KiiNGKHY's demons are visible. It is so out there, everyone knows from the get-go that something is wrong with this guy. But Brooklyn's are invisible, because he wants to believe that they don't exist. There's nothing wrong with him, but of course they do. He suppresses all of his demons, and he keeps on suppressing them until he breaks, with his demons trapped inside of him, screaming to come out and eat him alive. This constant struggle twists him bad. He develops a split personality. One is the sweet, gentle, and kind Brooklyn that everyone sees, and the other is the aggressive and psychotic freak that no one sees. He obviously doesn't want to be the psycho. He doesn't want anyone to see that side of him. And though he tries hard to suppress his dark side and be the sweet guy he's supposed to be, he never was that person. That was always a facade. What he really is the monster, and he knows it. Brooklyn's unbelievable power also isn't just from him, it's from his bit beast Zeus. He would never be that powerful if it weren't for his mighty bit beast. Brooklyn and Zeus are not a traditional Beyblade and human partnership like everyone else. It's like they are both fighting for control over each other to be the king. This is also a manifestation of Brooklyn's split personalities, with Zeus being the dark side of it. When Zeus takes over, Brooklyn goes into madness, and he knows this well, so it's a never-ending battle for him. This is the inner battle of Brooklyn's mind that brings up all the negativity and darkness inside of his heart. We see that very well. Once Brooklyn loses to KiiNGKhyy, he has never experienced defeat like this before in his life. He thought he was destined to never lose, but now his mind wanders about, unsure of the future now. Brooklyn was not able to accept the fact that he lost. He truly couldn't believe it. Brooklyn couldn't understand the first thought about a Beyblader spirit. He thought everything was easy and came on a silver platter. Needless to say though, this thought was hard for him to overcome. Brooklyn's inner darkness would finally let loose, allowing Zeus to do what he wants. Brooklyn would end up facing Tyson, creating his own world of darkness, and this is a huge symbol of Brooklyn's mind. He dreams of a chaotic world with dark skies and broken buildings, and Tyson reminds him how the sky doesn't look like this. It's blue and big and not gloomy. Brooklyn didn't know how to deal with losing, and he didn't know anything about working hard or the importance of dedication. He also didn't know what emotion is, how to laugh, how to cry. It's the loneliness that comes with being a genius. Brooklyn was desperately crying for help, and Tyson was willing to help him. Emotions run high in Beyblade, and there's always highs and lows, but you have to give it your best, and those feelings vanish, so even if you don't win, you will always have a laugh. Everyone would ditch Brooklyn as a kid because he would always win, and Brooklyn just deep down wanted friends. He wanted to never be alone, and this emotional aspect was something he envied from Tyson, and he always wanted. I think Brooklyn was an amazing character, and we get to see what isolation can do to a genius who can't understand the people around him. Brooklyn always wanted what Tyson had, but was never given the chance. All he wanted in the end were friends, and in the end he was able to get just that. His story serves a reminder that no matter how great you are, we all need friends in this world. We weren't made to be alone for the rest of our lives. I hope we can all see this as a chance to have great friends helping us in our lives. Well, I thank you guys for watching this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll be back in the next one. Peace.